The disclaimer for the Pick a Topic with Sam and Guest show. The opinions aired on this chat show are not necessarily the views of the presenter. The information on this chat show is not intended or implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. All content, including text, graphics, images, and information contained on or available through this chat show are for general information purposes only. This chat show makes no representation and assumes no responsibility for the accuracy of information on or available through this chat show, and such information is subject to change without notice. You are encouraged to confirm any information obtained from or through this chat show with other sources and review all information regarding any medical condition or treatment with your physician. Some brilliant guests tonight.
The reason why we are on lockdown has nothing to do with the fact of building our immune system.
Try something else for a bit, then stop. So they've been using us all as guinea pigs.
What I will do differently now is that I won't feel like I haven't got a voice because I'm not Black.
Everybody's going to be dead at the same time.
I have never spoken about Black on Black because it's a nonsense, because most crimes are committed by non-Blacks.
Let that child go to school and come back with anything and see me.
Time to make history. Stand up.
My name is Beverly Skeet, and guess what? I've been making good use of the lockdown time. I've made an album, it's called Liberty, and this is the first single from it, Can't Do Right for Doing Wrong. It's been a long time coming, and I've been looking forward to it, and I hope you are too. It'll be released on the 31st of August. I hope you like it. Take care. Bye. Be safe. Love me so well, inside my share, give me all your love, even when I don't deserve it, give me from far, baby that's...
Well, it's a good evening from me. It's nice to have you back on the Pick a Topic with Sam and Guest show. So I have got the lovely Mr. Lindsay Wesker, who I affectionately call Mr. Wesky. He's going to be with us tonight, being our co-host. I'm just going to see if I can get him to join us. Bear with me, please. Let's see. He should be in the room any minute now. There we go. We've got the love. Look at that smile.
Hi, Sam.
How are you doing, Mr. Wesky?
I am good. Lovely to be part of another show. Really looking forward to this evening. This is a subject I feel as though I've talked about, I don't know, my whole life. This is dominated my life, this subject. So, really looking forward to this evening.
Okay. I think I could say the same. You know, I think I could say the same. I think obesity, when you hear obesity, people think you've got to be rather large, but that's not the case, according to the doctors over here. So I'm intrigued to see what the electric docs say, to be honest.
Here is my very unscientific theory. Okay, this is my very unscientific theory. Before we move on to some qualified people, here is my unscientific theory. It's like I think certain people will always be slim. You know, they're born with slim bodies, and they will always be slim. And you know, body shape will never ever be a problem to them because they are just born with that kind of body. And I think it's the same for I think it's the same for
In
podgy
reverse. Yeah.
podgy fat overweight, you know, roly poly people, whatever you want to call them. I think they just have a certain shape of body, they have a certain kind of body, and they will never ever, you know, look like those fantastic athletes we see in the Olympic Games, or you know,
I
playing
mean,
football.
I tend to agree with you to a certain degree, Lindsay, but then knowing just a little bit, and I do say a little bit because I am not qualified, but just knowing a bit about plant-based and herbs and things like that, I wonder if it's more how people are eating as opposed to the genetical makeup that makes them obese. And then the other thing is, you know, my like you say, my sister, she can eat anything. She doesn't necessarily put on weight. I just have to not even look at it but think about it, you know. And it's on my hips and everywhere else.
I mean, I
You
think,
know.
I think, I think that, you know, I think that I could go on a great diet, and I think I could do great exercise. You know, I could speak with my friend Barry Thomas and get a great personal trainer regime. And I would never, you know, I'm never going to look like an athlete ever.
Well, let's see. Let's see what the electric docs say. And plus, we will be having Barry Thomas join us a bit later on, roughly about 8 o'clock, guys. He's a personal trainer, so we're going to have that aspect for as well. But for now, I just want to welcome the electric docs, and I would also like to welcome Dr. Ammon, as it's his first appearance here. We have seen Dr. Amsu. Um, Thank you very much, by the way, for being here with us. Dr. Ammon and Dr. Amsu, is it correct to say that obesity is a genetical thing, or is it about the way people eat?
I mean, there's a thing that we call epigenetics, which is how your body has adjusted to its environment and to lifestyle, and it's what genes are being expressed. That can be a factor, and more time it is the actual situation that has taken place over time. But there are genes being expressed in people, which means that they have a lower metabolism from when they're at an early age. So it just means don't eat the same as other people, because you know your metabolic rate is lower. You have a slower
So
metabolism.
does that mean eat less, or does that mean eat a different type
Well,
of food?
eat less, because as
Well, not necessarily less,
as we move
right.
as we move forward, right, into this talk, a calorie is a calorie is a calorie. When it comes to at a certain point in your life, a calorie is a calorie. Calorie is the energy that we take in, you know, what we take in, and we're supposed to burn it up. But the body recognizes a calorie as a calorie. Now, the quality of that calorie is what is a factor when it comes to the quality of the nutrients that your body utilizes to express genes and what have you. So there is the amount that you eat, and there's the quality of what you eat. It's quality and quantity that play a major factor.
I mean, you can have some people that are just born with a natural fast metabolism. So they're just burning everything that they eat, the intake. And some others will have a slow. but you can also alter that by your lifestyle. And that's what it really counts, is your lifestyle. That's what's really going to determine on how you're going to be, or if you become obese, if you become overweight or underweight. It's all down to your lifestyle.
You feel that you can actually alter a metabolism?
It is very...
You are very
I
echoey
think
at the
he
moment.
asked if you could alter your metabolism, right? Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying. By your lifestyle, you could speed up your metabolism or you could slow it down, right? By exercising, by the food, by
the same thing that we're talking about, epigenetics. It can work against you
or
by
for you.
what or for you. So somebody with a slow metabolism can actually eat the correct nutrients. And we as nutrient therapists, that's what we deal with all the time. It's like, okay, you got a slow metabolism. We got to speed that up. So here's the kind of lifestyle you need to lead and what diet you need to be on to get these nutrients that are going to now increase your resting metabolic rate and also your active metabolic rate.
Okay, just one sec, Dr. Amsu. What did you say? What did you say?
Epigenetics. It's the way how your genes are being expressed. Like we're full of genes, billions of genes, right? And the genes are expressed in a certain way. All right. Are being expressed. Some genes are switched off. You might contain a gene, but that gene's switched off.
Right.
You may.
Is that what you mean? Is that what you mean by expressed?
Expressed, right. It's what switched on or switched off. So expression, gene expression is when it's switched on. If it's not switched on, that means you do not have it. So all right. So you've heard the thing that everybody comes from black people. So black people contain the genes for other races. So we have within us, if we have dark eyes, we also have a gene for blue eyes. So we can produce a child with blue eyes. So the dominant can always produce the recessive, but the recessive cannot produce the dominant.
In other words, you're saying that the gene for the blue eyes would be switched off if
you got brown eyes.
A child with right, okay, right.
Yeah.
Right.
And just to answer the gentleman's question about can you alter, speed up or slow down the metabolism, you have the thyroid gland, and that gland is like the master gland that is controlling your metabolism. And you can have two. When it's out of whack, you can either be hyper or hypothyroidism, meaning that is overactive or underactive. So that is how your metabolism can also be measured.
Don't blow your load, mate. You're blowing your load.
So hold on, Dr. Amsu, Dr. Ammon and Dr. Amsu, right? Does that mean if I put my gorgeous self into both of your care, you make me look like a supermodel?
I mean, we won't go that far, but we'll help you out. I'm only joking. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, and if we get some of the records, if we get some of that record collection from our friend of it, Lindsay, we could definitely make him an athlete.
Right. So, Lindsay,
trade-off.
I think what we're going to need to do is you're going to need to give them some of your collection, and I'm going to need to make them some songs for their actual show and their brand, and then maybe we can come to some. Maybe.
Yeah. No,
anyway,
nobody's getting my collection, so you just take that thought out of your mind. So listen, just coming back to one of the things that you guys said, you said that in terms of speeding up your metabolism, do you feel that there are specific nutrients and specific foods that can speed up a metabolism?
Obviously, yes. Absolutely. We won't go into it right now. Let's wait. We want to wait. We don't want to give away everything.
No problem. What I'm going to do, Electric Docs, I'm going to put you back to attendees for a moment. I just want to speak with Claudette Patterson-Wesker. So bear with me, okay?
Okay.
Where are we? I believe the lovely Claudette will be entering the room shortly. So, Lindsay, that's something that I think I've learned already, because I didn't think it was possible to as they say, switch on and switch off genes. You know, that's wow.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, yeah, and obviously when they reveal their goodies later on, I mean, as they say, they don't want to blow their load too quickly, but when they reveal their goodies later, I'll be interested to find out, you know, what these foods and nutrients are that can, you know, hopefully speed up a metabolism.
Interesting. Lovely. You got your hair down tonight, Claudette. You look absolutely gorgeous. Not that you don't always look gorgeous, you look even more gorgeous today.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
Oh, look, she's gone and taken off the glasses. Oh, look at that. Wow. Anyway, I mean, were you aware that genes could be switched on and switched off?
That is completely new to me, and you know, that blew me away as well, that genes can be switched on and switched off, because I know that they can be capped. I heard that they could be capped, and I'm wondering if that's the same thing.
What does capped mean, though? Are you aware of what it?
So I see. I don't want to speak out. We have, say for instance, our lifespan, I do believe, is dominated by a gene. And at one point, human beings used to live for hundreds of years. Along the way, that gene has been capped, and it shortened our lifespan. I believe, you know, that's what my understanding of things. So I'd be interested to find out if I'm correct and that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to speaking to the doctors.
Yeah, and we do have Barry Thomas joining us later, because this is right up his street as well. After all, he's a personal trainer and he's one of our panelists. So I thought I would get him tonight. We are going to bring back the electric docs at this point, because I'm so intrigued. I'm so intrigued about this, because for me, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm particularly large or anything, but I've suffered with my weight like all the way through my life, and the doctors will say I am obese. So, you know, I mean, I would love to know a bit more about these genes switching on and switching off. What's the correct term again? What was it, Lindsay? What's the correct term? What was the correct term, doctors?
Epigenetics?
Yeah. Wow. So what would you say, what other illnesses would you say, apart from something like diabetes, which is the first thing that comes to my mind, what other illnesses can obesity lead to?
Heart disease, high blood pressure, arthritis,
gout.
You know, most
gout.
autoimmune
Did
diseases.
you say gout, Dr. Edmund?
Yes, gout.
Yeah.
Oh, gout. Okay.
Most autoimmune diseases, because what it is that, all right, so you have what we call adipose tissue, which is your fat. Fat is filled up of fat cells. Now, most people believe that the more fat cells you have is the heavier or the fatter you are, right? This is not true, especially for adults. When we become adults, we don't increase or decrease in our fat cells. What happens is the fat cells just get larger, right? So fat cells are surrounded. So you have adipose tissue, which is a whole bunch of fat cells that are deposited in different areas of the body. And so this is what we call white adipose tissue or adipose tissue. So adipose tissue is highly vasculated. There's a lot of veins, blood vessels, capillaries, and arteries, right? Also, what is the main issue are the white blood cells or leukocytes. They're called macrophages, they're called T cells, right? So when you are normal weight, you have small amounts of these macrophages and T cells. You have what are called adipokines, right? Adipokines can either be pro-inflammatory or anti-inflammatory, right? So when you're at a normal weight and you're healthy and you're athletic and whatnot, and you're eating a balanced diet, your adipokines are anti-inflammatory, meaning they do not recruit and do not initiate the macrophages and the T cells. Macrophages and T cells are pro-inflammatory. So as your adipocytes or fat cells get bigger, right, it increases the amount of adipokines, and the adipokines start to become pro-inflammatory, meaning they start to recruit more macrophages and more T cells. And because your fat cells are vasculated, right, your adipose tissue is vasculated, it's when those adipokines, when those macrophages and those T cells now get into your blood, your blood vessels, right, and travel to other areas of your body, it starts to damage other organs. So people who suffer from inflammation, who are obese, it's because, you know, all these
it's in their bloodstream going to other places.
going on.
Right.
And that can also happen, and not necessary. You don't necessarily have to be obese to have an inflammatory environment going on in your body.
That's what I realized, Dr. Ammon, because I've looked at some really slim people, but let's say they've got other illnesses that
other illnesses, but because we're talking about fat, it's like what does it mean to be obese? When you are obese, you're going to be pro-inflammatory.
Absolutely.
So there is not, you know, so you got slim people who may have, you know, cancer, which is a tumor, which is inflammation, right? But when you have large deposits of fat, you are now exposed to pro-inflammatory conditions, and fat is everywhere. So obesity, so let's look at what obesity is. Obesity is when your body mass index or your BMI is above 30, right? So that's how it's measured. It's about your body mass index. It's about how much fat mass you have in comparison to fat-free mass.
It sounds as though you can kind of get on a really slippery slope with kind of weight gain. And it's kind of, if you start gaining weight, all of a sudden almost your body starts conspiring against you. And it's kind of a really slippery slope from kind of just being mildly overweight to being obese.
Right.
So you have to address it very, very quickly.
Right. So the thing is, it's about the consistency or the size of your fat cells. When your fat cells, adipocytes, are a specific size or below a specific size, it behaves in a great way. And there are, you know, there's what we call AMPKs, which are part of your genetics, right? They're genetic cells which help with your metabolism. They help to convert fat into muscle, right? So AMPK is, you know, a cytochrome that basically helps you along the way. But when you start to get obese, you produce less AMPK, right? You have less of it, and you know, now you start to go down that slippery slope of where it now becomes exponential. So so some people can work out all they want, right? You can work out and you think you're burning fat, but because you have the ratio between your fat to your blood vessels in the fat, you're not converting it into energy as efficiently, plus you're producing these inflammatory cells that are now causing inflammation in other parts of the body.
Okay.
Can I ask?
So it is a slippery slope.
Can I ask? Can the fat cells revert back? So once the fat cells have got big, can they revert back to being useful?
Yes. So this is what fat is. Our fat, your fat in your body is a storage reservoir.
That's all.
So what it is, how you get fat is because you are eating more calories than what you're burning, right? So over time, your caloric intake exudes what you are burning off. So let's just say somebody that's eating a healthy diet, but they also work out, right? They're going to burn the muscles need that energy. So through a process called lipolysis, it converts, it's basically going into your fat cells to pull out from the triglycerides that's stored in your fat cells, right? It converts them into free fatty acids, which then get converted into what we call ATP when it gets to your cells. And it's your ATP that is the energy that you use, that you need for every movement that you do. So, you know, right now you can see I'm moving around. That takes energy to do that. So the more sedentary you are, is the less energy you utilize. But people who are healthy have what we call a high resting metabolic rate, a high RMR. So
can I just stop you there, Dr. Amsley, because Barry Thomas has just joined us, and I really would like to.
All right,
Barry is also he's also a personal trainer, and he obviously trains people and has a way of getting people into shape. And I just wanted to ask Barry, how, I don't know how much you've heard of the show so far because you've just joined us, but have you come across people who you've
Just
tried to
joined.
train?
Good evening, everybody.
And yeah, have you come across people who you've tried to train and it's not actually taken effect? They may become fitter, as in be able to run for long, but it's not actually showing on their body. Barry? Barry, can you hear me? Oh.
Some of them, well, I can actually say one of them.
Okay.
One person in all the people that I've ever trained, they were, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, continue.
Yeah, your camera froze just for a second.
That's okay. We can hear you now, Barry. Please continue.
Right. So what was the question again? Because you were breaking up.
The question was, have you trained people who you've done everything right, they've done everything right, but they've still got, they still look the same. They may be able to have endurance, but they still look the same. They haven't dropped any weight.
No, not really. It's only ever happened with one person, and that's because they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing when they weren't supervised by myself, i.e. with their eating.
Okay. All right.
So
So
no, that never really happened to me.
okay. And you train a lot of people.
Less and less now. I'm becoming an old man and getting tired, so less and less.
Okay. Like I said, I'm not sure how much of the show you've heard so far. So I'm going to switch back to the electric dots and let them continue to say what it is that they were saying, because they were saying that it's possible through epigenetics, I hope I said it correctly, that you can reverse your metabolism and make it fast again if it's slow. So I'm going to go back to the electric dots about that, because I sort of cut into them to just quickly hear from you and say good evening to you.
Right. Okay.
So what we want to make clear though, epigenetics ain't a club that you go to or something you can buy from the shops. Right. Epigenetics is a natural occurrence, basically how your body responds to its environment, what you've been eating, your lifestyle, your environment, right? So it's the switching on and
My apologies, electric docs. There's been a technical hitch. Could you please unmute yourself?
You can't. Can you hear us now?
Yes, we can.
All right. Thanks a lot, mate.
That was
All
me.
right.
Let's go.
So can everybody hear us? All right. We don't want to be saying this. Okay. So epigenetics isn't something that you can, that you go and buy from the shops. It isn't something that, you can purchase, right? It's something, it's a natural occurrence. So how your body responds to its environment, to what you've been eating, what you've been putting into your body. These are all factors that will switch on or switch off certain genes in your body, right? So it can work for you or work against you. But it's not.
How do you do it? How do you do it?
All right, by eating, for it working for you means your diet has to be correct. Your environment, meaning, are you in an area where there's pollutants that affect your body adversely? You see what I'm saying? Do you exercise enough? So there's all these factors that go into whether or not these genes that work for you are switched on, or if genes that work against you are switched on, right? So it's about eating healthily. So you got some people who have a gene that switched on, which means that they don't age quickly. They age slowly.
Okay, so what I'm trying to get to is what kind of food do you need to eat to switch on and off the genes? And after this, we are going to go to the break.
All right, so we're plant-based, so we're always going to put our 2 thumbs up for plant-based foods, right? Leave out the red meats, leave out meat
dairy,
as a whole, dairy,
processed food,
fish as well.
Processed food. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you have to cut fish out as well as meat?
That's meat.
That's meat.
Okay.
But, I mean, if you're going to eat fish, then you're gonna have to make sure you get like sea bass, red snapper, but stay away from things like shrimp, tilapia, all of those savages that are fish that are scavengers in the sea that are very high, and salmon that is very high in mercury, you know, with all that toxic parasites and tapeworm and ringworms and etc. So, you know, we do recommend that you do stay away from meat, and that includes fish totally. But we like to introduce things like leafy greens, certain grains like millet, quinoa, black wild rice, sorry, a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits. Stay away from dairy products. Like, you know, milk is the most inflammatory. Milk and cheese are like the most inflammatory substance you can drink and put in your body.
Well, isn't it true to say that milk is basically cow pus?
That's what I was going to say. It's cow's mucus. Yep.
Yeah.
But again, genetics are going to dictate whether you are tolerant or intolerant to it, to the lactic acid.
Lindsay, before, sorry, doctors. It's just I'm about to go to the break, and I just want to ask my co-host Lindsay if he's got any other questions to ask before, or just at least one before we go to the break.
I mean, actually, Sam, I just quickly wanted to go to Barry and just get his response to what the electric docs have said. Barry, can you hear us? Barry, have you been listening to what the docs have been saying? Can you just unmute yourself, Barry, please?
Barry, could you unmute yourself, please?
I have indeed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're okay now.
Yes.
Barry, I was just asking.
Unmuted,
I was just asking if you'd had a chance to listen to what the docs were saying, and if in your experience, because you're dealing in fitness, but you're also dealing in nutrients as well. So you're helping people with their diet.
Absolutely. And the first thing I do in agreement with the guys is dairy is one of the most inflammatory things that your body can consume. As you say, humans are the only animal that drink another animal's milk. And
yeah.
I highly recommend to stay away from any dairy, whether it's cheese, or milk, or egg, butter, whatever. Stay away from it. It's no good for your system.
Okay.
Thanks for
and
that,
on
Barry.
that note, thank you, Barry. I am going to go to the break. We are having a bit of technical hitches here tonight. Not sure. I'm not sure what's happened to your internet connection, Barry, but I think you might have to have a quick look at it during the break. Let's go to the commercial break. Bear with me, please.
All right.
Some brilliant guests tonight.
The reason why we are on lockdown has nothing to do with the fact of building our immune system.
Try something else for a bit, then stop. So they've been using us all as guinea pigs.
What I will do differently now is that I won't feel like I haven't got a voice because I'm not black.
Everybody's going to be dead at the same time.
I have never spoken about black on black because it's a nonsense, because most crimes are committed by non-blacks.
Let that child go to school and come back with anything and see me.
My name's Beverly Skeet, and guess what? I've been making good use of the lockdown time. I've made an album, it's called Liberty, and this is the first single from it, Can't Do Right for Doing Wrong. It's been a long time coming, and I've been looking forward to it, and I hope you are too. It'll be released on the 31st of August. I hope you like it. Take care. Bye. Be safe.
You know, guys, we are back after the break. I do want to quickly say, I think I've learned quite a lot. I'm still trying to process the fact that you can switch genes on and switch them off. I think that's fantastic. I wish I knew how to do that, and who knows, we may get closer to the understanding of that by the end of tonight. But we are now also opening the floor for the any health section questioning for the docs. And I do want to say hello to Dorrit Brown on YouTube. There's not a lot of comments going on tonight on YouTube. I hope we'll get a few more. But yes, I do want to say hello, Dorrit Brown. Let's go back to the electric docs, because now I want to ask them basically how would we go about weight loss, like if say we had maybe I don't know, a thyroid problem, or it's just age and it's about switching on and off the metabolism, without giving too much away, but giving enough, if you understand what I mean. Dr. Amsu, how would you go about helping someone with weight loss? Maybe, for instance, if they had a thyroid problem, let's say.
So if you have a thyroid issue, first of all, it means that your
hormones,
metabolic rate has slowed down. So you have to eat less, right? So the amount that you eat has to be less because you're not going to metabolize the amount of calories over, you know, a certain amount of time. So there are techniques in which we have, with one of which is intermittent fasting, right? Intermittent fasting, which you basically eat only within a small window of each day, right? So you fast for like 12 to 16 hours of a day, right? So
that will probably sound horrific to a lot of people.
I know, but if you do have a situation of hypothyroidism, right? And hypothyroidism isn't genetic. It's something that you develop, right? It's something that you develop. So what causes hypothyroidism is actually something called immunoglobulins, thyroid immunoglobulins that basically attach to the thyroid gland and block the thyroid stimulating hormone from reaching or attaching to the receptors, thyroid stimulating hormone receptors, which activates the thyroid gland, right? So these are white blood cells, and you get those through bad diet, right? Through bad diet. Or the other alternative, which is more serious, is if there's an endocrinal issue, something wrong with your hypothalamus, right? Which is a gland in the brain which produces the thyroid stimulating hormone to let the thyroid gland know, produce thyroid hormone. Right. So so a lot of the times estrogen also plays a major factor if you are estrogen dominant, right? If you suffer from estrogen dominance, which most people do, one of the things what it does attack.
Why is that? Sorry to take you off, but why are most people estrogen dominant?
Because we live in a highly estrogenic environment. That means that the chemicals, the pollutants, things that are around us on an everyday basis, you know, foods that we eat, the processed foods that we eat, a lot of stuff that we drink are what we call xenoestrogens, right? They are chemicals, or even in certain plants, there are what we call phytoestrogens. And it's how we metabolize, it's how our bodies process those, and they mimic the action of estrogen, which the body produces.
So again, it comes back to how we are eating, isn't it? But guys, I do want to
also, there are other factors.
Sorry,
you know,
Dr. Hodgson, guys, I do want to say this is the section where we are actually having a discussion. It's not a lecture, so please feel free to ask your questions. You know, you don't need to be silent.
Actually,
Dr. Ansu will answer as best he can.
Sorry, when it comes to thyroids, normally I hear women talking about the thyroids and having the thyroid problem. Is this something that relates to women more than men?
Yes, absolutely. Thyroid issues, endocrinal issues, usually, you know, occur in women a lot more than in men. All the stats show that it's an issue with women more so than with men. But it's not doesn't bar men from the situation, because you do have some men who are hypothyroid, some men who are hyperthyroid, and you know, overactive thyroid. But when it comes to obesity, we're specifically dealing with hypothyroidism.
Can I ask another question? Why do you think pregnancy plays a part of weight and the ability to get rid of weight? I mean, i.e., your body reacting differently when it comes to storing of fat and your body behaving in a certain way with regards to fat. Does pregnancy alter that? Because some women are always saying then after they have a baby, they struggle with the ability to lose weight.
Right across the screen. Yeah. All right. Oh, no, cool. You're cool. You're cool. All right. So pregnancy does play a major role because there's an estrogen that the body produces when you're pregnant, right? Estrone is produced when you are pregnant. There's 3 types of estrogen, and there's a specific type that's produced when you're pregnant, which also stores more energy and to give to the child, right? But it increases the amount of estrogen, and again, estrogen does attack the thyroid gland, slows down metabolism. It slows down, your production of ATP, which is the useful form of energy that your muscles use.
So is it when you get pregnant, something is switched on. So after you have the baby, does it not revert? Is it something that doesn't really revert back automatically? Is it always switched on as your body?
Some women, the production stops. With some women, it continues. It depends again on how well have you been eating during your pregnancy?
Right.
Have you been indulging in dairy and certain substances which actually, and this is the thing as well, fat produces estrogen.
Right.
All right. So white adipose tissue also produces even more estrogen. And the more estrogen it produces, the more your glands are going to be attacked by the estrogen. And it, has an adverse effect on certain glands. So the more obese you are, the more it's like an ever decreasing circle, or in reverse, so if you will.
Just like, they say when you're pregnant, you're eating for 2, which is totally wrong. But what Dr. Amsu is also saying is that there's like a domino effect. So when you are estrogen dominant, or estrogen is accelerated in the body, it also triggers off another hormone called insulin. And then you have a situation where insulin or insulin resistance steps in, and you're always craving for food. You never have, you're never fully full. Or if you are full, you're only full for like a short period of time because you always want to eat. And then insulin triggers off cortisol. And cortisol now inhibits things like your testosterone and
is that's a stress.
It's a stress steroid or stress hormone, right? But now these feed fat. And one of the things that we have to understand is that when we're talking about adipose or fat, you have 2 types. Okay, Dr. Amsu's been focusing on the white adipose fat, which leads to all the health conditions, what he's been mentioning. But then we also have what they call the brown adipose tissue or brown fat, which is what feeds and actually eats off white fat. It actually eats those fatty white cells and reduces those fatty cells that's been expanded with toxins. It reduces them. And there's a thing in our cells, which is like the engine or the core of the cells, which is known as the mitochondria. And brown adipose fat fuels that. And with that fuel, it's almost like you have a cell phone and you have your battery life. And when the brown adipose tissue is being distributed in the body, it's like you're charging your phone with your charger at the wall. So now you feel more energetic and you have more energy and more exuberance about yourself to whether work out, train, study, etc.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's great. Can I just briefly, can I just come back to intermittent fasting again? Because this is such a hot topic at the moment, and I'm seeing a lot of stuff online about intermittent fasting. Now you're talking about 12 hours? You said
Yeah.
12 hours.
Oh, 12 hours plus.
12 hours plus. So all right. So
12 hours
let's
plus.
just say the average human sleeps. We're supposed to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, right? In order for us to be fully rested. So if you don't eat for 12 hours, that gives you a 4-hour eating window, right? So the reason why we said 12 to 16, if you sleep for 8 hours, that means that you just got to eat one time for the day. Some people practice where they eat once for the day and then that's it, right? So we practice intermittent fasting where I don't eat before 2 o'clock in the afternoon. No matter what time was the last time I may have had something to eat at night, right? I don't eat until 2 in the afternoon. So we try to do like 8 o'clock being the last time that we eat. So from 8 in the evening until 2 in the afternoon, that's like 14 hours.
Okay, and so how that works is basically it gives your body a chance to do all the work that it's supposed to do, right?
Absolutely.
Right, exactly.
So what happens with that and why that is such a huge topic now with the intermittent fasting is that what they have discovered through case studies is that they've taken a group of people and they've done it from 8, 12, and I believe 16, maybe to 18 hours of them doing intermittent fasting. And what they discovered was that after 8 hours, they didn't really see any change with the body. The body was just functioning
that's why you
normal.
sleep, right? That's why you're
Right.
sleeping.
When it came to the 12 hour, they started to see the immune system, the metabolism started to kick. But after 14 to 16 hours, what happened was that the body, the blood sugar in the body dropped down and you went into what they call a ketose state, okay?
Right.
And when you went into the ketose state, now the body was eating off excessive amount of fat just to fuel itself.
And tumors.
And tumors. So when I say fat, I'm talking tumors and cysts, right? And the body started to do that automatically because the body was wanting to fuel. It needed fuel. This is your glucose that needs to be distributed to the brain as well as to the muscles. So they were saying, right, anything from 12 plus is when that body goes into, when your body goes into that state of ketose. This is now when the immune system, okay, the fat, your sugar level,
so basically
salt
it starts
level,
using all the fat.
everything. Yeah, and what we have to understand, and one of the things I want to really stress is this: what we do as nutritionists is that we try to tell people, don't worry about so much of losing weight. Let's get the body healthy. Let's fill the body with the right nutrients and minerals that it needs, because the body has a self-survival mechanism where it will naturally start healing itself with the right form of training, water, nutrient supplementation. So,
Dr. Amun, before we move on any further, I do want to ask Barry. Barry, are you familiar with the intermittent fasting?
Yes, I am. It is something that I could recommend to certain people, but I think it is dependent on your condition as a person, your health conditions, whether you would fast for as long as 12 or 14 hours. Yes, it can be recommended for certain people and it is effective, but it's not something that everybody can do.
Harry, what kind of people can do it and what kind of people shouldn't do it?
Well, definitely if you're on the healthier, fitter side, you can do things like that. If you've got pre-existing conditions, as we've heard before, you know, it's not advisable. Like diabetics shouldn't really do something like that. I wouldn't recommend it for them. But you know, it really is dependent on your condition and your physical health as a person, whether you can do that kind of fasting for that length of time.
Okay, understood. So what I would like to say then is, Lindsay, let me just quickly check. Lindsay, have you kind of grasped everything that we've been speaking about so far tonight?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you know, this is the message that the electric docs have been preaching from day one, really. You know, it's about feeding the body the right nutrients and getting the body working properly. You You know, they've always said that a lot of our bodies just aren't working properly. Our bodies can't do. Our bodies can't do what they're meant to do. They can't, you know, the immune
And you know,
system
you're right.
can't
A lot of
repair.
the time, our bodies are not working properly because of the things we've been putting into them over the years.
Mm.
And with all of the nutritional information that's available now, you would hope that more people would use it and use it wisely, but they don't. And I think it starts with the mentality that we have to realize we are not entitled to have a healthy body.
Mm.
A healthy body is available to us, but we're not entitled to have it. Like anything else in life, if you want it, you have to work towards it. And it's a gradual process. So, you know, we're not entitled to be healthy. So we can't just eat everything that we want, not exercise, not be active, and not expect there to be repercussions.
But
So,
Barry, you should be able to look at food without putting on weight, though. Like,
but some people can't. They can't even mention the name. Forget looking at it. You know, but I think that is the attitude that we have to be working towards changing, that a healthy body is not an entitlement. It's something that is available to us, but like anything else, you have to work towards it, which is, as you say, you know, the things that you're putting into your body, your activity levels, you have to monitor those. And as we've said before, you know, we know whether what is good for us, an apple or a muffin, we know, but we talk ourselves into having what we want, you know, all these stupid things. People say, oh, you only live once, you got to die of something, which is absolutely true, but you want the time that you're here, however long it is, to be having a healthy quality of life, not having to have medication substituting things all through your life. You know, you're on 12 tablets, whereas if you had adopted a healthy lifestyle early enough, you wouldn't have to be on all of those tablets later into your life. So, you know, that's really what it's about. So as he said just now, I'm not so much with my clients about losing weight. I say to them, don't worry about the scales, because what is happening with your body will show in your clothes. How your clothes fit you will tell you what's happening with your body. Don't worry about the scales, but you know, you will feel it. It is about how you feel. And I have to say, one of my claim to fame, she's not one of my famous clients, but she was an elderly lady that was coming up to retirement. And, you know, she was a smoker, would like a drink, and overweight. And I can remember taking this woman out and just starting with her, walking. She couldn't run, power walking, picking up the pace. But, you know, I was literally cooking her food. So I was monitoring everything that she was putting in her mouth. And as you said earlier, you know, has it ever happened that, you know, the client hasn't responded in spite of the fact that they're supposedly doing the right things and exercising in the right way? Well, she absolutely followed it to the letter and got the results. So much so that she was coming up to 65, her doctor said to her, you are healthier now than you were in your 40s.
That's
Now,
brilliant. That's such an inspiration as well.
and that is what the guys were saying. You can turn it around, but it really is about your commitment and determination and the lack of self-entitlement to, I can have a healthy body and do what I like, because you can't. And the older you get, the more you have to be vigilant with what you're doing. As the years creep up on you, you have to be even more vigilant than you were in your 20s and 30s.
Yeah, I was gonna come on to age, because I mean, we're told that metabolism slows down with age.
That's correct. So, like anything, when you're talking about age, is deterioration, right? So your metabolism slows down, your hormones start depleting. There's a lot of wear and tear, right, that is put on your joints. Cellular rejuvenation starts to deplete, so your cells on your tissues of your organs are not rejuvenating how they would when you were younger. And it's funny because the way how society, or even old science, and you have modern science. So old science was giving you age and time brackets of when to expect these things happening, when it's too late to, have a child for women or men, and etc. But with the new science and with new technology and the way how our world has shifted, we now can prolong that by correct eating, exercising, sleeping, okay? Because how you sleep plays a major factor on how your body heals, right? Sleeping is fun. Pardon?
And when you're asleep, that is when your body actually.
That's what I'm saying. That is the fundamental. That is when your body is starting to heal. This is where steroids or hormones like melatonin is being released, and your body's going through a healing. And the position on how you sleep when you're sleeping will also determine the fact of how rested and how.
Okay, so can I just interrupt here, because now I need to know what position I need to sleep in, Dr. Emmons.
Right. So in order for your body to heal, like anything, it has to be well rested. Okay. And I know there's a standard amount of length of time that people say sleeping for 8 or 7 to 8 hours. But really, it's down to the individual and how healthy or unhealthy they are. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. It's almost like looking at sleeping as cleaning a dirty house. If your house is severely dirty, it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of hours, a lot of work, a lot of maintenance to clean it up. So when you're sleeping, if your body is so unhealthy, it's going to take a lot of work, right, in order to start to rectify this. And how do we know this? What's one of the signs? When you wake up and you feel exhausted, when you wake up and you still feel sluggish, right? When really, when you wake up, you should be rejuvenated. You should be up. There should be a spring in your step, and you should be ready to go, because now you've just recharged. You've just been recharging, and a thing called the methylation process or methylation state is just been taking place. So now all your body and all your organs have been rejuvenated, and all the toxicity is ready to exit the body the moment you wake up. Hence why you always go to the bathroom for a bowel movement and urine movement, okay? But what happens is that if you're sleeping in the wrong position, your body can't do this. It can't function. And it's really important to know this, because depending on what type of health conditions you could be suffering from determines what position you should sleep in. For instance,
I need to get to this position. What is the position?
So the best position by far is to sleep on your back. Okay? To sleep on your back. That's the best, because that's the most natural position for your spine, your neck, your lower back, right? Your pelvis. This is the natural position, right? Also, it helps with acid reflux, okay? It helps with heartburn, indigestion, and circulation to sleep on your back. Also, your face is exposed to the atmosphere, so it prevents having wrinkles, okay? Because when you're sleeping on your side, you're wrinkling your face. That's why you have wrinkles. If you sleep on your left side, you're putting all the pressure on your organs like your heart, your lungs, etc. That kicks up your metabolism. So that helps your digestive system as well. It helps the lymphatic system. You hear Dr. Amsu mention about the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is responsible for detoxifying toxin pathogens out of the body, okay? Right. So now so sleeping on the left side has that advantage. But if you suffer with like high blood pressure, okay, you don't want to sleep on your left side.
That's right, exactly.
Because it will also interfere with circulation. So now you want to sleep on your right. And you never really want to sleep in one position constantly every night. You want to maneuver it slightly. And it's either back, left, or to the fetal. The one position you don't ever want to sleep in at all, because it doesn't have any health benefits, is on your stomach. You don't want to sleep on your stomach.
Oh, Barry, are you a culprit?
The only thing that protects, the only thing that stops is snoring. That's the only thing it stops, is you snoring. And actually, when you sleep in, snoring is an indication of your body being under stress.
Oh,
is
really?
when people are snoring, it's because the body is trying to heal itself and it's under stress.
Wow.
And some people that are working and healthy, they might only need 3 to 4 hours before they rejuvenate. They might don't need that 8 hours.
Yeah.
Right. So
absolutely.
Each case is going to be case by case for each individual. Okay. But there are some things. And then you have water therapy, where with water therapy now, cold water, like cold showers, helps to produce that adipose, that brown adipose tissue we was talking about, to boost up your immune system, to tighten your skin, to start.
So that's why the Swedish do their hot and cold.
Exactly.
Right. And the Russians. Okay. That
So
makes
do you
sense.
see when we say holistic, we're talking about a whole lifestyle. So it's not just your nutrition, it's not just your exercise, it's how you sleep, how you wash your skin, and even the products that you put on your skin and in your hair. So you're getting attacked from all types or from all angles of toxicity.
Exactly. And I have to interrupt you there, especially with all the products that people put in their hair. They have no idea what it contains. All these words that are 14 letters long, you can't even say it. And you're plastering this on your head, you're plastering it on your face, your body is absorbing all that toxicity. And there will be effects. But I also wanted to say about the healing of your body with sleep. Most definitely, when you wake up, you should feel rejuvenated. If you wake up after a night's sleep and you're not feeling rejuvenated, something is wrong. But also with food. Now, a lot of people think that, oh, it's so comforting to eat a big plate of food, so much so that they want to fall asleep when they're finished. That is showing you your body is working so hard to digest that food that it's put you to sleep. Literally. Your
I
body is
didn't even
working
think
so
of it like that, Barry. You make a very valid point.
to break that food down. That's why you want to sleep. Because after you've eaten, again, it's fuel. You should have energy after you've eaten. You shouldn't be feeling, oh, exhausted, I just want to sleep. That's showing you that something is wrong with what you're eating.
So many people fall asleep after eating.
Yeah.
So many
But they're
people.
eating the wrong things. They're eating the wrong things regularly. They're eating too much of the wrong thing.
Dr. Ammon, I have a question for you.
Sure.
What would you say is and we are coming to a close, by the way, what would you say is the easiest method for most people to drop weight?
Oh, it's your food. It's definitely your food.
And exercise is secondary.
A lot of people, right, and I'll tell you why. Because one of the things that someone mentioned earlier on is with age, right? So as young as you want to be, as much as you want to be committed, and the personal trainer, the young gentleman on the call, can maybe testify to this.
Oh, he loves that, Dr. Ammon.
So we can't avoid age. We can't avoid getting old, right? That's something we can't avoid.
I've got many years to go.
We won't have the energy to keep that level of performance, of intensity of training, right? So training is secondary. It's your nutrition, it's your food. Remember, your body is like a tank, so you're fueling it with the correct nutrition, the correct vitamins that it needs and minerals. So sometimes I might not train for 8 months, but I'm eating right. And I go to the gym and I could still knock out 150 press ups and 20 minutes of working on the bench and with these youngsters. But I haven't trained for 8 to 9 months, but I've consistently kept eating and drinking the correct food.
The thing is, Dr. Ammon, I've learned, sorry to interrupt, but I have learned that when you cut out all meats, and over here we say fish too, because meat is meat and fish is fish, you will find, and if you are eating the correct plant-based, you'll find that you have a lot more energy and endurance when you're doing exercises. I've actually experienced that. I mean, I only managed to do it for 2 weeks, but I was able to jog for longer, and I noticed it instantaneously. is there, I mean, how, I guess what I'm asking is for those people like myself, I guess, who are not as disciplined then, who maybe can't cut out meat, but maybe can, sorry, can't cut out fish, but maybe can cut out meat. Would you say something to them like maybe have fish maybe only 3 times a week and then, or?
Well, of course,
Oh,
you try to.
absolutely. So,
Go ahead.
yeah. So
Either or
this is,
either of you can answer that.
right, this is so, okay. Age before beauty. So I'll go first. So one of the things that I
doing well. I like this thing.
So one of the things I'll say is that not everyone wants to be plant-based or vegan and you know, whole plant-based food, etc. Some people are just going to be honest and say, look, I can't give up eating meat, right? Whether it's fish, whether it's steak, chicken, etc. So there are some ways and there's some techniques of still being able to eat those foods, and you narrow down which particular foods and how you prepare. How you prepare the food is very important.
Absolutely.
How much you consume of that food is another factor. All right.
Sorry, Dr. Amen, don't forget what you're saying. I just want to say a very quick hello to one of our regulars who's on YouTube. Hello, Info Reclamation. I couldn't not say that, and we are coming to a close, so I just wanted to say hi. Please continue.
Question.
Right.
What?
Okay.
So, what is the actual effect of obesity on sleep, and does it also affect, like, I'm an asthma sufferer? Does it affect people's bones?
Oh, absolutely. So obesity on sleep. Remember, Dr. Amsu mentioned it earlier on. You have your body mass, right? Your index of your body mass to your height and your size. So you've got to look at your body as a shell, right? And you've got your joints, you've got circulation, you've got muscles, you've got bone structure, right? If you are overweight and over obese, now you're putting excess amount of strain. It's almost like trying to have a balloon and you're constantly putting water in it. Eventually that balloon is going to get stretched to its compatibility and it's going to pop. All right, it's going to explode. So when you're sleeping, now remember, what is starting to happen is that the body is consumed with so much toxicity. It can't do what it's supposed to do. It's straining. It's really struggling, trying to even survive. So you've got your microbiomes, which is your gut, which is like your forest, all right, of your gut. And that has trillions and trillions of different types of bacteria, good and bad bacteria. But that is the root cause of really your health, your gut, okay? And the microbiome, look at it as a rainforest.
Are we right to say the gut has its own brain almost?
There you go. It's referred to as a second brain.
Right.
Right. It's referred to as a second brain in the medical world. And they're realizing, and there's so much case studies to prove that once the gut is disrupted, or things like leaky gut, stressful gut syndrome, that it affects things like, it causes things like anxiety, dementia, Parkinson's disease, memory loss, anger. I mean, it just affects mental health, period, the gut, right? So again, when we're talking about the gut and we're talking about the microbiome, that is like your rainforest. That's like how your whole body is going to affect. Every illness or a lot of your illnesses that you experience starts from the gut. So if that is being, if that is unbalanced, what you then will have in return is an unhealthy system from your metabolism, from your immune system, from your circulatory system, your excretory system, your respiratory system. All of these systems will be affected by the gut because the gut is involved with everything. Your liver will be compromised, right? So how you will sleep, and I said it, if you notice people that are overweight, they snore. And there will be different patterns within their snoring. You will hear a high pitch, a deep bass tone, and you can, there's actually specialists of snoring that they can hear the type of frequency or level of your snoring to pinpoint
But
exactly.
Dr. Aman, couldn't snoring also be, and this is the very last thing we're going to say, I do need to go to the commercial break and close. Couldn't snoring also be down to postnatal dripping?
Yes, but even with that studies, it's all led back to the condition of the body, how healthy the body is. Okay. So even with those studies, they have all come down, and when they start going right through the layers, it's all things of like vitamin D deficiency, magnesium deficiency, you know, obesity.
Well, all illnesses are a deficiency of some kind.
Of some form, right? But there's particular chemicals and hormones that need to be released leading up to sleep. So you got snoozing and dozing, and then you got REM, which is like, you know, when they say that old saying, sleep is a sister to death, is when you're literally deep sleep. And that's when the healing starts to take place. And if you've got excessive amount of weight and the body's straining and struggling and being compromised with that, you could never get into a deep sleep. You're never going to heal. And it gets into a vicious cycle.
Dr. Aman, the last question I'm going to ask here, and I really am closing, is your products that the electric docs have, will it only work if you are eating plant-based?
Excellent question. Excellent question. So what we are finding, and I try to say it really quick, I'll try to wrap it up. What we find, and we're living in a society today that a lot of our farming, a lot of the food that we get, the soy that is being grown in is mineral, it depletes in minerals, right? There's a mineral deficiency within the soil that our food is actually getting grown in. So we have to compromise or substitute what we're not getting from our food as mineral intake with supplementation to give us that minerals. Our supplementation would work at its best with a plant-based diet. It works at its best because if you're eating fatty food, fried food, refined sugars, processed food, your body now is struggling to fight that. It's struggling to break it down, digest it, right? Absorb it, digest, metabolize. It's struggling with these things. So the supplements are being, the resources of the supplements that you're taking now are being utilized to fight and break down the poison or the toxicities.
So you sound like you were saying that it can work if you are eating maybe not correctly, but it works better when you are eating. That's the answer, right?
Yes, you get a much quicker response. You get a much faster change in whatever condition you're trying to treat at the time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aman. I just want to quickly come to you, Claudette, and say, before we put you back to attendees, and when I put everyone back to attendees, please stay there, don't go anywhere, and I'll see you after the commercial break. Gorgeous one, Claudette. Do you have a last question that you'd like to ask before we say goodbye to you?
I think I've asked.
You've asked everything.
Great
stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your input. Always a pleasure to have you. And I'm going to say goodbye to you for now. And I'm going to come to your gorgeous...
The rest of the panels and all the people that tuned in. Stay safe.
Great stuff. Goodbye. Gorgeous one, Claudette. Okay. Handsome Mr. Barry, do you have anything that you'd like to add or ask before we come to a close and say goodbye to yourself?
I agree with a lot of what he was saying regarding sleep. It's very important. That's when your body heals. Regarding plant-based, highly recommend it. And also incorporating raw food in your diet, because you find that you can eat a lot less when you have raw veg, because the heat actually kills a lot of the nutrients in the veg. So, if you can incorporate at least a certain amount of raw food, you'll find that you'll consume less and, reduce your meat intake. But in addition, I call fiber nature's broom. Fiber is so important in your diet. And you're talking about the gut earlier. the more fiber you can take, the better, because that literally is sweeping through your stomach and clearing out everything from your intestine, all those little corners. When you think of how long an intestine is, you know, there are all those little corners that food sits in, and that's when you start to get all the cysts and cancer in areas. So if you can incorporate a good amount of fiber in your diet, you're on the way to being a lot healthier than if you're eating starch. That's
Excellent.
basically it. But as regards
Excellent.
to exercise, as you get older, it's not a question of giving up exercise. It's a question of changing the way you exercise. Because if you look at how a lot of old people move, it's because they've lost all the strength in their arms. You need strength in your arms to get out of a chair, to sit
And
down on
it's
a
also
bench.
good for bone density, isn't it, Barry?
Absolutely. But you know, you need to keep exercising. Yes, it changes. You don't expect you to be running a marathon and all of that. It's not necessary. But the resistance training is important because you still need to keep strength in your upper body just to function
Okay.
in your daily life, no matter how old you are, even if it's to lay
Excellent.
on your bed. So, you know, it's not about giving up, it's about changing and adapting to the stage you are in your life.
Thank you very, very much, Barry. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us. And also, thank you for stepping in last
You're
minute.
welcome.
Thank you so much.
Anything for you, beautiful.
Oh, gorgeous, man. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll see you. I'll see you after the break. Thank you very much, Barry. Bye-bye for now.
Okay.
Okay, so we have just left here now. We've got Dr. Amun, and I'm going to ask you to unmute your mic. Dr. Amun, you have given us, yourself and Dr. Amsu have given us so much knowledge over the past few weeks. I mean, I have quite a bit of knowledge for just your average Joe blogs where it comes to do with health and especially natural things, but nowhere near what the electric docs have in their brains. I call Dr. Amsu Book of Information, and
Right.
I think I'm going to have to call you the same, Dr. Amsu Book of Information. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh,
Dr.
thank you
Amun,
so
sorry.
much. Thank you so much. I mean, I know it's just the first time I've been on here because we have a lot of things going on over here, especially with the pandemic that we're dealing with, the COVID-19. But yeah, I really are humbled, and I love the opportunity to come onto the platform. So thank you for having us. I do appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. And also, I would just like to say very quickly and very naughtily, I guess, have you guys got something that assists with COVID-19?
Again?
Have you guys got something that assists with COVID-19?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Brilliant.
So,
and do you know what product that is?
Yeah, if you go to our website,
What's
Electric
it called?
Food, right? Electricfood.com, we have, was it RSVP? It's a RSVP protocol, and that, I'm not going to say it's secure or anything.
We're not allowed to say that.
But if you go by, if you go by CDC and the experts, they have told you the people that have a strong immune system are most likely to survive and have less systematic issues with COVID-19. So what we are focusing on is actually building a healthy immune system. So it's not going to, you've got your mask, you've got your social distancing, you've got washing your hands, and we are just adding, well, you know what? We also got some other things
Take care of your immune system.
Take care of your immune system to make sure that if you contract it by any unforeseen circumstances, that you at least can survive and it's not fatal, because it's really sad. One thing that we'll say is that it's very real, COVID-19. We've lost a lot of people. I've lost people that I know personally to it. So we can't take this lightly at all.
Absolutely.
We don't take it lightly at all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amun. Lindsay, is there anything else that you'd like to ask Dr. Amun or add? Or
No. I mean, it's so much good information, so much good knowledge. We're very grateful to you. Thank you so much for being here.
Brilliant. Well, Dr. Ammon, this is the bit where I put you back to attendees, but ask you to hang on there. And I will see you back after the commercial break. Thank you so much for making it. And it's lovely to see you. Okay.
Likewise.
I'll see you in a bit. Well, Mr. Wesky, and to others, Lindsay Wesker. Wow, what did you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, so interesting. I mean, everything that the two doctors were saying, I mean, we know it makes sense. We know it makes sense. It's really just a question of trying to get there. You know, it's like it's not going to happen overnight. We can't alter our diets to have a diet like they've got overnight. It's going to take a while. You're going to lose this, and then you're going to lose that, and then you're going to lose that. It's really going to take a while. I mean, Claudette is making changes to her life. They're really small changes, but they're so significant, you know. And it might seem like nothing, but she's gone from 3 sugars to 2 sugars in her coffee, and it's such a small thing. But
that's how you've got to do it, though, Lindsay.
Such a huge thing. It's a huge thing.
If you try to make a massive big change, it's usually those people who try to make the quick change, they usually end up reverting back to what they know. I'm definitely, that was me. I mean, I did plant-based for 2 weeks, you know, but then I decided, you know, I'm going to have to do this gradually. So now I guess I eat a lot more fish than I do meat. So
I got rid of milk ages ago.
Oh, me too. I'm on almond milk.
Yeah. I was on soya milk, but you know, as we discussed,
that's estrogen.
That's just pure estrogen. So I've come off soya milk, and now I'm just drinking black coffee. And I can get used to that. I can get used to it.
Yeah,
it's a small change, but I think it'll make a huge difference.
Okay, well, look, it's time for us, and I think we've actually managed to stay in some good kind of time this week. It didn't feel too short, and it didn't feel too long, I guess. So we've kind of done it this week, Lindsay. It's time for us to say goodbye to yourself as well, my gorgeous friend. And I'll see you back after the commercial break.
Thank you, Sam. It's been fun as ever.
Thank you so much. Okay, so it's a good night from myself and the panel and the Electric Dots and Barry Thomas. And that's another week. It's another wrap. You know, we hope to see you back next week. We'll either be discussing sexual dysfunction or autoimmune disease. It will be one or the other. And we will have the Electric Docs back in the house with us next week. So please stay tuned and watch the commercial breaks, and then we'll be calling it a night. Good night and God bless. Thank you very much for being with us. Some brilliant guests tonight.
The reason why we are on lockdown has nothing to do with the fact of building our immune system.
Try something else for a bit, then stop. So they've been using us all as guinea pigs.
What I will do differently now is that I won't feel like I haven't got a voice because I'm not Black.
Everybody's going to be dead at the same time.
I have never spoken about Black on Black because it's a nonsense, because most crimes are committed by non-Blacks.
Let that child go to school and come back with anything and see me.
State of emergency, no more silence.
name's Beverly Skeet, and guess what? I've been making good use of the lockdown time. I've made an album, it's called Liberty, and this is the first single from it, Can't Do Right for Doing Wrong. It's been a long time coming, and I've been looking forward to it, and I hope you are too. It'll be released on the 31st of August. I hope you like it. Take care. Bye. Be safe.